Hey all, Hibber here. Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to World of Warships Legends. So today I'm taking you back in time about, well, I guess nearly 2 years back to when Lepanto was actually a fun ship to play. Because it isn't anymore. Because WarGaming nerfed it, and they nerfed it hard. So I'm going to show you this old battle here that I haven't shown before, and my build back then was Deravel here with the two secondary inspirations and all the secondary perks, right? And also, of course, on the ship we go for a full secondary build here. That's the build I've been using constantly on this ship. I've never done anything else, so everything you see here is using that build. So 4 heals, 3 smokes, and 3 enhanced secondary targeting. And as you can see, we have 10-kilometer firing range on our secondaries, 2.4 reload time, and that all amounts to almost a 70% win rate in the ship here. Not a lot of battles yet, but anyway, that was back in the day. And wow, was this a fun ship. It's one of the most amusing ships I have ever encountered in World of Warships Legends. And it's a battleship, right? I don't really like battleships, but this brought a whole new level of fun to the game. And I realized, yeah, was it overpowered? Possibly, yes. But I think WarGaming dealt with its, overpoweredness in a very, very wrong way. Because the fun part of this ship here is that you can just totally overwhelm your enemies with secondary fire, right? And remember, the secondaries are sap shells, so they are really painful. And it's just, well, it was a super fun ship to play. So what WarGaming ended up doing, though, they ended up actually cutting the reload time of the secondaries instead of cutting the range. Now, I think that was the worst decision they've made in, well, probably ever in the game. Because, yeah, I don't know, was the ship overpowered? I don't know. I don't have access to the stats. I couldn't tell. I thought it was fun to play and it was powerful. Yes. But, okay, fair enough. WarGaming has, the spreadsheet. They know what's going on. So I think instead of cutting the reload from, I have a 2.4 reload here, and cutting it to, I believe it's 6 seconds or something like that. Base builds, you can probably get it down to 5 or something like that. I don't know. I haven't really tried after they nerfed the ship because I was pretty upset, and I'll get back to that later. I think instead of nerfing the reload, they should have nerfed the range. So just keep the old reload and nerf the range and nerf it like hard from 10 kilometers to, for example, 5 kilometers, maybe 6 kilometers, even 4 if they absolutely have to. Because if you let a battleship get within 4 kilometers, 5 kilometers of you, you've made a few mistakes early on in the battle, and you deserve to be punished, right? And of course, actually getting a battleship into that position is very difficult. And if you actually pull it off, I think you should be rewarded with, a firework of sap shells and just the almost instant death of your enemy due to just the overwhelming power of the sap shells. And of course, another aspect is that it would actually make this battleship here a very effective destroyer hunter. Now, I cannot count the amount of shimikazes I've snuck up on in this ship. Just pop around the corner and they die in a matter of, I don't know, 10 seconds probably, because of the sap shells, right? So you're actually useful in this battleship here. So yes, is the range of 10 kilometer, was it overkill? Possibly. I don't know. WarGaming says it was. I have my doubts. I cannot prove anything. But like I said, I thought, I still think, and I highly think what they did back then was wrong. They should have nerfed the range, not the reload. So, instead of having something unique that you have to be a good player to actually utilize completely, like sneak up on enemies and use your secondaries to take them out, and of course also your smoke, that's, another thing this ship has. All they really did was just to create another, mediocre secondary focused ship that can't really do what it's supposed to do, right? I'm probably gonna actually try and take it out in some future videos and see if it's really as crap as I think it is, but it's certainly not as good as it was back in the day. And taking on a destroyer in a battleship, you have to be pretty sure that you can win that engagement, right? So extending the reload by 100, almost 150%, probably not the way to go. It makes me a little bit iffy taking on Shimakazes then. So like I said, instead of creating a new unique ship that actually has a role to play in a battle, and of course requiring quite high skill of the captain, and of course, setting up that situation where you can ambush someone is difficult. It's not easy, especially in this game here, right? So I think that, okay, if you manage to get within 5 kilometers of a DD, you should be rewarded, because the DD has made some mistakes then, obviously, right? I even think that 7 or 8 kilometers would be fair. 10 kilometers, I don't know. Like I said, only WarGaming knows the truth here, but I am doubting what they were saying. Because I saw a lot of people playing Lepanto, and frankly, they sucked. And maybe they weren't running secondary builds, because why would you run this ship unless you run a secondary build? Because there's more accurate Italian battleships out there. I know Colombo wasn't out at that time, but it's out now, so you would play that one instead, right? So the secondaries are really the only thing that Lepanto has to offer. And by nerfing it the way they did, I think WarGaming just, totally screwed up, honestly. Well, anyway, why was I so upset back in the day when, WarGaming made this change? And, I say upset, but, I was just pretty much kidding about that, because I kind of knew they were going to do something about it. And the whole reason I got into Lepanto was actually due to the other CC meta jerk, because he kept going on about, oh, you should try Lepanto with a secondary build. And I didn't really have any Italian commanders, at least secondary commanders, leveled at the time. And you know me, if I do something, I do it 100%, right? I don't go into a secondary build with a 50% build. No, I go 100%. So I used a crap load of resources to upgrade, well, first of all, my Italian secondary commander, and of course the inspirations as well. So what you're seeing here is a maxed out Lepanto secondary build, including all the steel upgrades for the the things. So it cannot get any better than this. And I agree, yes, it is, or it was very, very good and very, very powerful, and also so much fun to play. So unfortunately, when WarGaming decided to, nerf it, I kind of felt that, I kind of spent all those resources for nothing. And it's not cheap, at least back then, where I didn't have, that many. So I spent, 40 universal commendations, I believe around 20 insignia, and probably hundreds and hundreds of whatever the other one is called. And of course a lot of commander XP as well. And then I think less than a month later, WarGaming went ahead with the nerf to the ship. And I complained about it in in the CC Discord quite a bit, but nothing really came out of it. And it's not so much that my resources were lost. It's more the fact that I don't think the nerf, like I've said probably 10 times this video now, I don't think the nerf was the right way to go with it. So anyway, in this video here you've seen a Lepanto with a maxed secondary build. You cannot get any better than this, at least it couldn't back in the day. And in the meantime it's been nerfed from, the reload is now 6 seconds, and that's just not as fun anymore. And in the meantime there's been another premium Italian battleship that kind of fixes this a little bit by lowering the reload to 5 seconds. So that's the one I'm going to actually have a play with, and I don't even remember if it has smoke, but if it has smoke I will try to substitute the Lepanto with that one. I forget the name, it's like some kind of opera dude's name, but yeah, anyway, I'm sure you know which one I mean. So I really liked Lepanto back in the day. I thought it was a breath of fresh air to the game, and I think I said that in several videos. I really enjoyed it, and it was something new to do, something new to play around with, and explore the capabilities of. And yeah, I was just super disappointed when WarGaming decided to go ahead and nerf the ship in a way that I think is just ridiculous, really. Like, imagine if you had a 5 kilometer range still on this ship, but you still kept the damage output, right? You still have your smoke, right? she can use it to sneak into very favorable positions and then ambush people. I mean, in a battleship, and that's fun, and it's a new way of playing the game. But like I said in the beginning, I don't know, WarGaming wants to play it safe, so they're just gonna say, okay, well, we're just gonna have another, you know, kind of mediocre secondary semi-focused ship here. Just happens to have sap shells, and that's about it. So anyway, in this battle here, we've now taken, I believe that is the third cap here, yes. And once we get to the end of this battle, you will see that no less than 5 high calibers are dealt in this battle here. Of course, not by one ship, but you know, this is a small battle. 8 players, and 5 of them get a high caliber. I don't think I've ever seen that before, and I suppose it's easier in a smaller battle, but still, when I saw this battle result, I was kind of, wow, that's unusual. So actually there was a lot of secondary battleships in this game here, and that made it extra fun. And actually here in the last part here, we're going to take on another secondary wannabe king, the Brandenburg here, because it's the 2 of us who are going to battle it out in the end here. And of course, both are secondary, maybe not focused ship, but at least I am. I don't know what that guy is running, but I'm assuming he's also running some sort of secondary boost. And of course, I have sap secondaries, and I'm missing 1 main gun. So I'm at a little bit of a disadvantage, but I do have a lot more health than the other guy, and I also have 2 heals waiting, along with no less than 2 smokes. So see how I just fire off the secondaries there, and then I just start to rake in the damage. And you know, there's an unfortunate island in the way here, but it doesn't really matter. We're just going to continue, and then once we get on the other side, if we have to, you know, we can pop the smoke. And that's the beauty of this ship and, you know, of this build here, is that when you are sitting in your smoke, not firing your main guns, right, you are invisible unless someone gets too close to you. So you can just sit there and just fire your secondary and just, you know, watch the damage come in. And perhaps that's what WarGaming decided wasn't a good idea. But still, that comes back to my original argument that, okay, well, then make the secondaries like just a little bit, like the radius just a little bit larger than the smoke radius, for example, instead of nerfing the reload. I think that was a silly decision. So anyway, I've had my primary batteries fired here. I'm just going to wait for my sap to choose through him. Not going to take long. He took a shot there, but like I said, I have plenty of heal and plenty of health, so I don't really worry too much about it. He just makes it there, but of course we win on points. So anyway, that was Lepanto, guys, and yeah, I missed this ship and I miss the build, and hopefully this new opera ship here, which I'm going to play with this weekend, is a little bit better. So anyway, hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you out there, and notice the 5 high calibers.